Kingdom is committed to a new chapter that will see the rebooting of relations between the two countries. Stay tuned for that story and more here on Newsplus. We shall also look at the latest flu bug which has swept across the country, with over 4,000 cases having been recorded in 1 week. Now, a health expert will join us live to discuss precautions which both citizens and authorities should take. The debate on pit bulls has spread into Parliament, with some lawmakers now pushing for an outright ban on vicious dogs. This, of course, follows a recent fatal attack on a Harare man by a pit bull. And in sport, action in the Castle Lager Premier Soccer League resumes this weekend, with spotlight on struggling giants. We now take a closer look at the stories making the headlines tonight. President Emmerson Mnangagwa earlier today received a courtesy call from the United Kingdom Minister for Africa, Lord Collins, a development expected to strengthen ties between Harare and London. Lord Collins of Highbury is in Harare to lead early celebrations of King Charles III's 75th birthday. Our correspondent Tafaras Wochwe was at State House.
President Mnangagwa and Lord Collins exchanged pleasantries, signaling a new era of cooperation between Harare and London. This gesture marks a turning point in the relations of the two countries, which have been slowly improving under President Mnangagwa's administration. Lord Collins has expressed his country's interest in exploring mutually beneficial economic prospects with Zimbabwe.
We are absolutely committed to building a partnership based on equality and respect, but on a simple mission, a mission for economic growth that can support both of our peoples, creating a win-win situation.
Relations between the two countries continue to improve, with Zimbabwe applying to rejoin the Commonwealth in 2018 after withdrawing in 2003. The new UK administration has adopted a new approach that aligns with Zimbabwe's friend to all and enemy to none mantra.
The new government in the United Kingdom is about developing a new approach to the continent of Africa, where we actually launched a consultation last year, a consultation on our approach, which was about listening and not talking.
During his visit, Lord Collins met with a group of business people, predominantly from the UK, to encourage investment and facilitate trade between the two countries. Zimbabwe and the UK have seen a 14% increase in total trade, with UK exports reaching £162 million and imports from Zimbabwe valued at £181 million.
So he indicated that he had a breakfast meeting with the business, mainly British business people, and his desire is to see how they can be supported to invest more and to facilitate trade. So he was highlighting a number of issues that are very optimistic that came from that engagement this morning.
Lord Collins' visit marks a significant gesture of goodwill aimed at strengthening bilateral relations after decades of strained ties. This development comes after a number of Zimbabwean officials were delisted from the UK sanctions list, as well as the removal of Zimbabwe's defence industries. These moves signal a notable shift in British foreign policy towards Zimbabwe, paving way of improved relations. Tafaras Bochiwe for ZTN Prime at State House in Harare.
Now our correspondent Eben Mabunda joins us live to help us unpack the trade figures between Zimbabwe and the United Kingdom. Good evening, Eben. Can you take us through the key trends in trade relations between Zimbabwe and the UK?
Good evening. Well, the value of trade between Zimbabwe and the UK came in at about £343 million, according to data sourced from a UK government portal. A low of £217 million in 2015 and a high of about £500 million between these two countries between 2017 and 2018. In fact, for those 2 years, £500 million was recorded in each of those 2 years. Now, you would find that the UK has been a major source of cars for the Zimbabwean market. You'd also find heavy vehicles, your trucks, your buses, pharmaceutical products have been sourced from the United Kingdom, as well as telecommunications equipment has been sourced as well from the United Kingdom. Now we have seen what appears to be an upward trajectory, at least over the past 3 years, with indications of that particular trend actually being maintained in the foreseeable future.
And Eben, what are some of Zimbabwe's key exports to the UK, and what prospects of growth exist for local products?
Well, Zimbabwe has pretty much been an exporter of metal ores, scrap material to the UK, jewellery as well, a part and parcel of that particular bouquet. But majorly, we're speaking of vegetables, fruits, particularly, of course, this will speak to the horticulture, products rather, that Zimbabwe has been able to ship to the United Kingdom. You'd also find you've got some products such as teas, coffees, cocoa as well, a part and parcel of that, and not forgetting, of course, tobacco, which has been exported by Zimbabwe to the United Kingdom, with indications of growth where other mineral resources are concerned. There's been an indication of an interest by UK companies to tap into Zimbabwe's mineral resources. So those are some of the key areas that Zimbabwe could explore, where increasing its export value to the United Kingdom.
Thank you very much, Eben, for sharing those insights. We now look at some of the landmark developments in the diplomatic relations between Zimbabwe and the United Kingdom.
Historically, the two nations have had a complex relationship which soured in the early 2000s when the UK, along with other Western nations, imposed sanctions on Zimbabwe. In recent years, there have been efforts to normalize relations between the two countries. The UK has shown interest in increasing trade and investment with Zimbabwe, while Zimbabwe's government under President Emmerson Mnangagwa has sought to re-engage with the international community and attract foreign investment. Looking at the two countries' trade data, according to the UK's Office for National Statistics, the total value of trade between the UK and Zimbabwe was £144 million in 2020. Zimbabwe's exports to the UK were valued at £43 million, with major exports including tobacco, gold and textiles. UK exports to Zimbabwe were valued at £101 million, with major exports including machinery, vehicles and manufactured goods. Trade is expected to grow under the Economic Partnership Agreement, EPA, between the UK and the Eastern and Southern Africa region, which Zimbabwe is a signatory. The EPA provides for duty-free and quota-free access for goods from ESA countries, including Zimbabwe, to the UK market. Zimbabwe's government is working to improve the business environment and attract foreign investment, which could benefit UK companies and investors. Politically, London and Zimbabwe had a frosty patch coming after the imposition of sanctions by the UK on Zimbabwean individuals and entities, including government officials and state-owned companies. These sanctions restricted travel, froze assets, and limited economic cooperation. In November 2017, under the new administration of Zimbabwe's President Emmerson Mnangagwa, the country launched an international re-engagement policy. The UK responded positively, with diplomatic efforts aimed at strengthening bilateral ties and promoting trade and investment. Recent developments, such as the lifting of sanctions on Zimbabwean individuals and entities, signal a potential shift in the UK-Zimbabwe policy, paving the way for renewed cooperation. As Zimbabwe continues to implement reforms and restore ties with the international community, the relationship with the UK is expected to evolve, with potential for increased cooperation and mutual benefit.
Now, from diplomatic issues, we turn to health matters, where Zimbabwe has been hit by a severe influenza strain, which has been identified as an ordinary flu variant by the Ministry of Health. And over 4,000 cases of flu have been recorded inside 1 week. Health experts have already warned those with underlying conditions to take precautions such as good hygiene practices, avoiding crowded places, wearing face masks, and keeping warm. We are now joined live by a medical practitioner, Dr. Mishek Ruwe, Ruende to unpack more on this flu variant. Good evening, Dr. Ruende. Good to have you here on Newsplus. Now, June is one of the coldest months of the year, and we have seen the flu bug doing the rounds. Is what we're currently experiencing just an influenza variant, or is it a COVID strain?
So it's just flu. We haven't had any information from the Ministry of Health or any other ministries or related ministries around the region saying otherwise, for example, saying that it's COVID. I know the flu is very painful, and it's, usually flu usually goes for about a week, but this one is going up to even for 2 weeks. But what we know so far is that it's just flu, nothing much. It's just a flu that's more painful. Looks like it's a COVID that made it the normal flu, and then it gave us this flu, but really it's just flu.
Now, there has been so much hype about the flu vaccine. Is it something we can consider this season, and is it actually easily accessible?
Vaccine hasn't been that common in this side of the world, the southern African part, including Zimbabwe, but really in other developed countries, the Western countries, Europe and so forth, they have always been using these vaccines. So there's nothing wrong with the vaccines. I know the hype, yes, but I encourage people they can have it. There's no problem with that. In terms of its effect, it's quite effective, in fact. But I still believe, even on top of the vaccine, people still need to practice the general preventative measures, which are the ones we mainly learned from the COVID-19, including the social distancing, always washing hands after sneezing, after shaking hands with others, and so forth. And when we are coughing, that is, you want to prevent it to the next person, coughing on your elbow, not on open palms. And other probably you can even use a tissue and then you throw it away. So those preventative measures, we still need them on top of the vaccine.
Now, lastly, Dr. Ruende, what recommendations do you have for the public in the face of this influenza?
My advice to go to, number one, the one with flu. Just the same as somebody with HIV, like I always say that if you have HIV and I'm not aware of it, but prevent me from that. The same thing with flu. If you have flu, but flu is usually more transmissible during the first days, even before you get the symptoms. So, number one is, if you have flu, make sure that you prevent the next person from getting the flu. Staying away from that person, social distancing, and also making sure, like I've already said, when you're coughing, you cough in your elbow or on your tissue, then you throw it away. If you're sneezing, again, the same thing. Always washing your hands. And then to the other part, again, always the receiving person, making sure that we stay away from people with flu, especially people with asthma, because they can easily tip into pneumonia and other complications. The other group of people that needs to stay away from people with flu are people with chronic conditions like HIV, diabetes, hypertension, that is high blood pressure. Those people are at much higher risk of developing things like pneumonia, which may put them at risk of dying. So those are the main issues. And then once one develops flu, what's important is rehydration, and also just medication to prevent hot body.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Now, that was Dr. Mishek Ruende, a medical practitioner, giving us insights on the current flu bug. Now, shortly, we'll give you an update on how legislators are pushing for a ban on dangerous dog breeds.
Asilwela ukunqoba kuphela, kepha silwela ukwakha isizwe esinohlonze. Sekunjalo.
Didn't graduate. I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
The guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
Welcome back. You're watching Wednesday's edition of Newsplus. Now, legislators are calling on government to take policy action over the ownership of dangerous dog breeds considered a threat to the public. The issue was raised during the National Assembly question and answer session earlier today. These concerns follow the recent tragic incident where a Harare man was mauled to death by a dog. Our reporter Sharon Munjenjema has more details.
A Harare man recently lost his life to a pit bull attack. With the incident still fresh in the public's mind, legislators want answers on when authorities will act to protect citizens from these potentially deadly breeds.
Asi imbwa yakadaro inorasa njere munyika tiri kuda kuti tiite sei kana tiri kuti toda kuti tipe license kuti chengeta abuda pachena opuwa license onzi chengeta imbwa inorasa njere toda kuti tiite sei nekurarama kwevanhu nembwa dzakarasa njere.
Members of Parliament are now questioning why such breeds are allowed to be kept in Zimbabwe following the recent fatal attack.
But it's clear, Mr. Speaker said, if we have somebody who has become a danger to the community, he is put in jail or put somewhere else. The pit bull as a breed has become a danger to the people of Zimbabwe. Is there anything that stops us from banning the breed within the country? I think this is the direction we need to move.
Head of Government Business in Parliament, Minister Ziyambi notes that councils have bylaws governing dog ownership, but stresses the need for expert consultations to determine the way forward on regulating certain breeds.
Zvandingaita mubato wechigaro vakanyora mubvunzo wachona kuitira kuti ivo vanopa maresidence vobva vataura kuti sei mipanda yembwa yavanopa maresidence nedzimwe sekutaura kwandaita.
The Speaker of Parliament has directed legislators to submit their request for an inquiry into pit bull breeds in writing, allowing Parliament to formally address the matter. This will also allow relevant authorities to consult with experts.
Why don't you allow for the question to be asked in writing, and then we can follow it up accordingly? All right?
Countries like South Africa and the United Kingdom have implemented strict controls on owning potentially deadly dog breeds. Others, like Australia, have opted for outright bans. As Zimbabwean authorities consider their next steps, they will likely draw lessons from these international approaches to inform local policy and protect public safety. Sharon Munjenjema for ZTN News at Parliament.
And in another story, residents across Bulawayo are facing yet another water crisis following a major pipe burst which led to a mudslide and affected water supply to more than 20 suburbs. Affected residents have gone for more than 2 weeks now without water, and the city of Bulawayo has announced setbacks in ongoing construction work, leading to more delays. The city of Bulawayo had initially scheduled the return of water by Monday, June 9, but Bulawayo City Council's corporate communications manager, Nesi Zampofu, has confirmed that unforeseen complications have now pushed that timeline back by at least 1 week.
Largely because our progress in rectifying a burst on the 679 millimeter pipe, which feeds water to many suburbs in the city, has taken longer than we thought. We have been encountering various challenges on the ground to the extent that we have had to reinforce the embankments, reinforce the soils, as well as we were affected by issues of the weekend where we could not procure the materials as fast as we could. Those that we had actually ran out and we needed more. This is because of the extent of the work. We want to apologize to our residents for this inconvenience, which we understand has taken longer than we anticipated.
Now, Mpofu said engineers encountered unstable soil at the site, forcing them to widen the embankment, a change that has significantly increased the scope of work. And in addition, key construction materials were unavailable over the weekend, with supplies closed and stocks running out, causing further delays. The city of Bulawayo has apologized for the inconvenience and assured residents that efforts are being made to complete the work as quickly and as safely as possible.
As a city, we've been working on it. I think we've had almost a good 2 weeks trying to resolve the issue of the pest, which is one of the main pests affecting several suburbs. We have encountered several challenges, but as of today, we believe that we are on top of the game and we are making progress.
Now, a large portion of the city remains without running water. Areas worst affected include those supplied by the Magwegwe Reservoir, such as Kaudri Park, Pelandaba West, Magwegwe, Njube, Mabutweni, Gwabalanda, Entumbane, Mpopoma, Machobane, Lobengula, Emakandeni and Luveve. Also affected are suburbs fed by the Criterion Waterworks, including Geta 6 to 9, Mganwini, Nkulumane 1 to 5, and 10 to 12, Bellevue, Newton West, West Somerton, and the Matobo Research Center. Now, moving on, in the build-up to World Blood Donor Day on June 14th, the National Blood Service Zimbabwe held an awareness march aimed at encouraging more people to become voluntary blood donors and boost national blood supplies. Our correspondent Talent Gore covered the march.
This year, Zimbabwe has set a national target of 600 blood donations on World Blood Donor Day. Organizers are urging all eligible citizens to come forward, donate, and become everyday heroes in someone's story. NBSZ Chief Executive Lucy Maroa says raising awareness is only the beginning. The long-term goal is to establish a strong culture of regular, voluntary blood donation across the nation.
We are actually just building up the hype so that on Saturday, 14 June, when we go to Kadoma to celebrate World Blood Donor Day, there is awareness in the country of Zimbabwe that we have these heroes and sheroes that give blood every day. So today we are calling on all adults and all people aged 16 and up to 60 years old to come and donate blood.
Maroa added that blood is a perishable resource and ongoing donations are essential to meet medical demand.
At the moment, our country's blood supplies are very stable. We have enough blood, but nevertheless, we still call upon people to continue to give blood every day because it's a perishable product that only has a shelf life of 6 weeks.
For veteran blood donor Ernest Matongera, who has been giving blood since 1995, donating blood should be a personal act of compassion.
Ndakatanga kudonate blood 1994. I'm close to 90th donation. Kupa ropa kwakakosha kuti vanopinda mutsaona vanogona kubatsirikana neropa rako. Madzimai vanosununguka panorasika ropa rakawanda saka vanogona kubatsirikana neropa iroro.
Another regular donor, Michael Laban, shared how a personal accident inspired him to become a committed blood donor.
I was hit by a car in 2005. I received, I think, 9 pints of blood. I'm B negative, which is a rare blood group. Need more people to give blood. Why do Zimbabweans not give blood? We have one of the lowest per capita blood donations in the world. And yet, we should be able to give blood. We need blood. It's important. It saved my life. I know that. So everybody else needs to give blood. Get it out there.
With this year's theme, Give Blood, Give Hope, Together We Save Lives, the message is simple but powerful. As June 14 approaches, the call grows louder. Roll up your sleeve, donate, and help save a life. Because for someone out there, your 1 pint of blood could mean the world. Reporting for ZTN Prime, I am Talent Gore in Harare.
Now, community members of Matepa area under Chief Negomo in Mashonaland Central Province have handed over a pangolin to the Zimbabwe Parks and Wildlife Management Authority. The handover ceremony was graced by Chief Negomo, who came together with Augustine Kefasi, a villager who found the pangolin on 14 April 2025. Kefasi informed the local leadership about the pangolin, and Chief Negomo informed Zim Parks, who then took the pangolin to Matusadona National Park for preservation. Fungai Lupande compiled the following report.
In a heartwarming display of community spirit, local leaders in Matepatepa area have praised Kefasi Augustine for his honesty in protecting wildlife. His selfless act has sparked a renewed commitment to educating villagers on the importance of conservation.
Pangorini yakanhongwa nemugari wemuvillage mandinotungamirira nisa Sabhuku. Munhu iyeyo paakanhonga pangorini toti vakauya nayo kwatiri. Sinhu zvakazoita kuti tizoti auya nayo kwatiri takainangisa kwamambo. Vanhu ivavo ndiri kufungidzira kuti nokunhonga kwavakaita pangorini vachiunza kwatiri isisu kuti vanhu vakaita honest.
Despite common myths that pangolins can be sold for profit or used for medicinal purposes, Kefasi chose to defy these misconceptions and speak the truth.
Anofanira kungowaniswawo kamugove kadiki kuitira kuti munharaunda matigere vanhu vakaona izvozvo vanenge vasisangana nadzo vanoita chino chokuti vakaiwana vanoichengetedza nokuti
Zimbabwe Parks and Wildlife Management Authority, ZIMPARKS, plays a vital role in safeguarding wildlife and preventing extinction. The board chairperson, Dr. Agrippa Sora, has praised the community for their responsible actions and acknowledged Chief Negomo's leadership in promoting wildlife protection.
We've received the pangolin from Chief Negomo because the pangolin was found in his area. We are taking it straight to Harare Airport, and a plane is waiting to take the pangolin to Matusalona, and our people in Matusalona Park will then look after the pangolin.
During a recent handover ceremony, a ZIMPARKS official warned villagers about the dangers of killing or possessing pangolin scales. The offense carries a mandatory sentence of up to 9 years.
Mukai, please Dapota. Ine mutongo wakakurisisa kana ashkora mutemo. Anoendeswa kujeri kwemakore iwa atinoti 9 years. Imandatory kana waonekwa nemhuka iyi waita zvisiri izvo. Kana kuti waonekwa nemakwati aya atiri kuona aya. Muneiziva hakainini yatiri kuti pangolini. Wangoonekwa kana nenyama yacho. Hazvibvumiro zvachose.
Pangolins are listed as a specially protected species under the Parks and Wildlife Act. Those found in possession of the mammal or its scales have faced prosecution and fines. These efforts by ZIMPARKS aim to ensure the preservation of wildlife species. For ZTM Prime, I am Mashudu Mambo in Harare.
And still on our local stories, Mudzi West constituency is set to benefit from the constituency development following the construction of 2 science labs and 1 classroom at different schools. And expectations are that by the time schools open for the 3rd term, all 3 structures will have been completed, paving the way for the construction of another preschool. Our correspondent Tafaras Wuchwe was in Mudzi and toured some of the projects.
In the year 2000, the foundation of this science lab was laid, but since then there has been no progress. 25 years later, the community, joining hands with the Mudzi West legislator, have come up with a resolution to complete this project by the end of July 2025. The headmaster of Shinga Secondary School, the council of Mudzi West constituency, and Chief Nyamukoho all hailed their legislator for his commitment to the development of the constituency. The construction of science labs after 25 years is a significant milestone that goes just beyond infrastructure.
Zvinoreva kuti tane vana vakupfuura even form 4 vakukwanisa kuita masciences mu form 5 and form 6 kuti kwakubuda vanhu vane masciences muno manyamkuwo kushinga ward specifically. Mamwe mawards edu atinawo anogona kunge aine mascience labs but kuno hakutonga kusitorina zvachose. So this is the first for Shinga ward.
The foundation of this science lab was laid 2 years ago, but progress had stalled. However, locals were pleased to see the construction of Tsakare Primary School science lab resume.
Chasumudziwa na honorable MP wakaitana chakatanga kuwakwa muna 2022 saka tandakunika nose vabere kuti simudzire chiwaka icho chichi saka vasumudziwa kuti tienderere mberi kuti vana vedu vagomo vanokwanisa kunge vano.
What's remarkable about these projects is that they will be built by local volunteers who will gain valuable skill in the process. Women are contributing by fetching water and cooking for the builders, while the men are working on mixing mortar, bricklaying and brick manufacturing.
Semadzimai tiri kuchera mvura tichitakura ivhu river sand nepit sand zvese tinotakura asi tiri kumbobetserwa dzimwe nguva nevarume nengoro.
Another science lab will be constructed at Shinga Secondary School. Like Tsakare Primary School, construction of Shinga Secondary School Science Lab has stalled but has since resumed. At Chimango Primary School, a new classroom block is being built to replace the one that was destroyed by heavy storms 6 years ago.
That it is upon us, taking from the mantra that we were given by the president of this country, Dr. Idi Mnangagwa, that Nyika inowakwa nevene vayo. As the Ngawe people, we have decided to take it upon ourselves and build this Ngawe. And we have, by and large, for this weekend, we have been concentrating on the education aspect of our livelihoods. When schools open for the third term of 2025, they will have 3 new structures in their respective schools, namely 2 science labs and 1 classroom. This will not only align with national development goals, but will also align with Agenda 2063. An equipped Mudzi West constituency, a vibrant Mashonaland East province will culminate into a better Zimbabwe for all. Tavaras Bochiwe for ZTN Prime in Mudzi.
Newsplus will be right back.
Running under the theme, promoting innovation to unlock opportunities for sustained economic growth and development towards an industrialized SADC. This June, from the 9th to the 13th, the Ministry of Finance, Economic Development and Investment Promotion will host the meetings of SADC Ministers of Finance and Investment and peer review panel at Elephant Hills Hotel in the tourist resort town of Victoria Falls. The meetings will discuss various finance and investment matters of importance to the SADC region, as well as member states, macroeconomic convergence, peer review reports and the SADC region, with a view to attain macroeconomic convergence under the SADC Protocol on Finance and Investment Promotion, FIP. The meetings therefore provide delegates with opportunity to recommend the implementation of critical decisions by both member states and the SADC Secretariat. Victoria Falls awaits you. Join us in shaping a prosperous, industrialized future for SADC.
Thank you for staying tuned to Newsplus this Wednesday evening. Now, the Judicial Service Commission has highlighted that the integrated electronic case management system has not only transformed the judicial system landscape, but also ensured that justice is delivered swiftly and transparently. This was revealed earlier today during an outreach event in Bindura.
The IECMS is a very transformative step that the Judicial Service has taken. When we took it, it was basically for enhancing our efficiency and effectiveness in our courts, for enhancing access to justice for our people, to reduce the distances they travel, the cost they pay, to allow them to access their orders in their machines at home, to reduce the money that they pay for travels from one area to another, even the problems of transport. But the IECMS has impacted the region. It has impacted the world. As I speak to you, my secretary is going to France, where he's going to do a presentation at a World Leaders Forum. because they are shocked about the developments that we've had. Africa has come, many countries, Mozambique, Malawi, Zambia, Namibia is coming, Liberia is here, CJCA, when they left, they were impacted very positively by the IACMS. So we are very pleased with the results of this system.
Now, police in Goromonzi have launched a manhunt for a man who allegedly set his in-laws' house on fire while they were asleep. The man, Wellington Mavunga, aged 46, under Chief Chikwaka, is being sought for attempted murder. Allegations are that the suspect had a misunderstanding with his wife, who sought refuge at her parents' homestead in the same village. Mashonaland East Police spokesperson, Inspector Simon Chazovachi, said the accused followed her the following morning and set the house, which had his wife, brother-in-law and father-in-law on fire.
Wellington Mavunga had a domestic dispute with his wife. His wife decided to go to his parents and he followed. When he got there, he set his father-in-law's house ablaze using petrol, and he also set the house in which his wife was sleeping. We want to urge members of the public to make sure that they use trusted relatives, elders, church leaders and community leaders to resolve their differences. Where they have problems, they can also visit the police station and see the victim-friendly unit officers for assistance. We discourage people who resort to violence than using peaceful means.
One of the family members narrated how her siblings and father survived the incident.
Akabatizira hanzvadzi yangu mainge yakarara ndo ranga rakazorwa maoiri kuti isajikwe nemuchenjera saka abatidza moto akapisidzira hanzvadzi yangu akabva akaenda pawindo akapwanya akadira petrol akabatidzira mukadzi wake achibuda ari kuona imba yani yababa iri kubvira ndopa akamubvunza Mavunga achitobva padhowa apa kuti Mavunga ndozvawafunga here izvi ndozvawazoronga here izvi asi Mavunga haana kudaira akaramba akaomesa gotsi achiita sei achienda kusvikira mwana wanzvadzi yangu inini atora demo kutema dhoo kuti baba wakwanisa kuita sei kubuda panze. Hanzvadzi yangu yanga iri bhizi kubvisa chihuri mumba umo kuti ivhure dhoo anga asingakwanise nekuti munhu aitsva nemoto. Ndichizobuda inini kuti ndiuye kunoko ndikaona mwana atobudisa kare baba akutowadira mvura panze asi vanga vatsva.
Now, Kimberly Chimbalanga gives us today's crime and courts update, including the case involving the embattled duo of Mike Chimombe and Moses Bofu, who have been set free in the Harare City Council traffic lights tender scandal.
Mike Chimombe and Moses Mpofu have had their charges in the botched Harare City Council streetlights tender withdrawn before plea just as the trial was about to commence. The two businessmen had been on remand for over 11 months. The state did not provide reasons for withdrawing the charges. Chimombe and Mpofu were being accused of using falsified documents to obtain the $9.2 million streetlights tender. Moving on, a police officer, Prince Ndavambi, who allegedly killed a man he had detained, has appeared in court facing murder charges. Ndavambi is alleged to have detained the now deceased on charges of assault and theft. He allegedly assaulted the now deceased with a whole handle all over the body, who later succumbed to his injuries. The accused was granted $400 United States bail and will return to court on July 2. Over to Chipinge, a 20-year-old man has been convicted after he threatened to kill his mother with a knife over food. The accused became furious after his mother explained she could not prepare food since she was attending to his disabled sibling. He demanded the food be prepared, and when the mother refused, he threatened to stab her. The court sentenced him to 3 months imprisonment, wholly suspended on condition of good behavior. He will perform 315 hours of community service. For TN Prime, I'm Kimberly Chimbalanga in Harare.
And now taking a quick look at what's happening in the world around us. President Trump signed an executive order imposing a travel ban on nationals from 12 countries, including Iran, Libya, Yemen, and Afghanistan, citing national security concerns. He stated that the measure was intended to prevent major foreign terror attacks on the American soil. Now, the order also includes partial travel restrictions for nationals of 7 countries: Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Togo, Turkmenistan, and Venezuela. And in response, Chadian President Mahamat Deby announced that his country would suspend visa issuance for U.S. citizens, emphasizing that the decision was made in accordance with the principles of reciprocity.
رئيس الجمهورية هو رجل السلام ورجل بيحب الأمن وبيحب التشاديين كلهم. بيوم واحد فقط رد رئيس الجمهورية للرئيس الأمريكي ترامب منع التأشيرة التشادية للأمريكيين. وفي هذا القرار اتأثر الأمريكيين أثر معهم شديد، ونحن التشاديين نحمد الله ونشكره. عندنا إيمان أولا، ثم ثانيا عندنا الصبر. أمريكا هي تمثل يعني تكون مش الدولة هي يعني نقول لك مش الدولة هي دولة إسلامية أو دولة كبيرة أو دولة مفيدة للإسلام، لا، هي دولة خراب للإسلام.
It's now time for us to take a look at what's happening on the economic landscape.
Crowd goes absolutely emphatic. He has done it.
Get ready for more on Supersport, the only place to watch all the FIFA Club World Cup.
Welcome back, gospel music lovers, to another season of My Ultimate Gospel 10. Your ultimate destination for soul-stirring melodies and inspirational stories.
Might prepare me for a good day.
God is faithful because He's holy.
Like, wow, this is beautiful. Each week, they'll be revealing their top 10 gospel songs. Meet Miss Becky K, the dynamic and passionate new presenter for Season 3.
If you are ready, let's get into My Ultimate Gospel 10.
Premiering soon, only on ZTN Prime. Stay tuned and let the music uplift your soul.
In our first business story, Chinese enterprises and Zimbabwean authorities convened in Harare today to discuss ways to unlock investment potential and smoothen the path for doing business in the country. Hosted by the Southern African Research and Documentation Center in partnership with the China-Zimbabwe Exchange Center, the dialogue sought to address existing bottlenecks while paving the way for stronger economic cooperation. Our business correspondent Melissa Chatikobo has the details.
Against the backdrop of growing Zimbabwe and China economic ties, stakeholders from government ministries, regulatory bodies, and Chinese businesses convened in Harare to address pressing challenges stalling investment. From bureaucratic delays and dynamic policy environment adapting to emerging economic opportunities, the forum tabled real issues affecting investor confidence.
Actually, today this is the dialogue. Actually, is the beginning of how can we give more information to our community as well, because many of them, they are new to Zimbabwe. They don't know much of regulation laws. They might actually, they're thinking maybe in other African countries, they're doing that way, they were doing okay. But in Zimbabwe, I think we are different here. So we should actually follow the law and...
While challenges took center stage, the dialogue also spotlighted pragmatic solutions, ranging from the streamlining of licensing processes to improving dispute resolution mechanisms and facilitating faster access to investment projects.
Some of these concerns are as a result of lack of information. This is why we have decided to bring together the Chinese business community and some of the relevant government agencies in Zimbabwe, so that there can be a platform for dialogue to iron out some of these concerns, some of these issues.
According to Zimstat, China ranked as Zimbabwe's third largest export destination in April 2025, accounting for 15.9% of the country's total export value. The event also explored new areas for cooperation, including green energy, infrastructure, value addition in agriculture, and mining. The idea is to move beyond raw material extraction to industrial collaboration that creates local jobs and markets.
Zimbabwe is well endowed with resources. The Chinese are coming here. These are our all-weather friends. And in line with FOCAC and the Road Belting Initiative, all these are in sync with what we want to achieve, as in ZIFA, as in NDS1.
As Zimbabwe works to position itself as an investment-friendly destination, such platforms are key to aligning policies with market realities and to building trust between local authorities and global players. Reporting for ZTM Prime, I'm Melissa Chitkubo in Harare.
Still on Zim-Sino relations, a delegation of 20 local journalists is in China for a media professional seminar, a testament of Zim-Sino relations. The group of 22, comprising personnel from both private and public media, is being hosted by China's Ministry of Industry and Commerce. Representative of the group and editor of the Herald, Victoria Rujidzo, told ZTN Prime that the seminar could not have come at a more opportune time, as legacy media navigates a complex and evolving landscape owing to new technologies and changes in audience news consumption habits.
Trip has come at a very opportune time, particularly for us at Z-Papers, when we are transitioning into or towards digital transformation. We have a lot to learn, and China is advanced in this respect. So this transition comes with opportunities, it also comes with challenges. So we are hoping to learn the ropes from here so that we do it better when we get home. It is a transition that is in line with global trends. So we find it to be very valuable and very important.
Now, in a move to build resilience in agricultural systems and improve rural transformation, authorities have launched the Horticulture Enterprise Enhancement Project in Harare. Agriculture Deputy Minister Vangelis Haritatos told stakeholders that the project will be integral for horticulture sector development.
Our vision as a ministry remains forthright, ambitious, but certainly attainable. To cultivate a dynamic horticultural sector that significantly contributes to Zimbabwe's aspirations of ascending to President Mnangagwa's Vision 2030 of an upper middle income society. The data speak volumes. Our horticulture recovery and growth plan aspires to bolster a subsector generating over $2.5 billion in annual gross revenue, creating approximately 600,000 direct jobs while expanding production across 180,000 hectares. These figures extend beyond mere statistics. They encapsulate the potential to invigorate lives, fortify communities, and build a prosperous future.
Now, this project will be implemented in 4 provinces of Manicaland, Masvingo, Matabeleland South, and Midlands. International Fund for Agricultural Development Country Director Francesco Rispoli said the idea will create markets for horticulture farmers and empower youth and women.
The Agriculture for System Transformation Strategy and Horticulture Recovery and Growth Plan. All IFA investments in the country, including HIP, are also closely aligned to IFA mandate, policies and also competitive advantage, and contribute to the 2022-2026 Zimbabwe United Nations Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework, which articulate the strategy to support the country to achieve the SDGs. The overall goal of it is to increase income.
And still on business, SADC finance ministers will meet tomorrow in Victoria Falls to review the financial year and push for stronger regional economic integration. The talks follow 3 days of technical sessions by Treasury and Central Bank officials. The meeting, themed Promoting Innovation to Unlock Opportunities for Sustained Economic Growth, aims to boost economic stability and policy coordination. RBZ Deputy Governor Dr. Innocent Mache highlighted the significance of the discussions in an interview with ZTN.
So what has happened is that we have received reports from the technical meetings, from the experts, and now we're going to deliberate on those outcomes to make sure that we start developing the reviews and policy positions going forward. The decisions will be made tomorrow, not only reviews of what has transpired over the year, but also planning for the further enhancement of integration and coordination of our policies in the region to make sure that issues of
New era as ZIFA resumes CAF C course. That story and more in sport. ZIFA Technical Director Jethro Hunidzarira has welcomed the CAF convention with open hands. That marks the first CAF C course hosted by ZIFA since 2017. Now the course is being held at the ZIFA village in Mount Hamden.
It's a very big breakthrough now that we are being allowed to go back into the convention. The CAF convention is what we actually call it, where we are supposed to be a member of the CAF convention. So what happened is we were given 8 requirements that we had to fulfill, and then we have done 6 of them. This is the 7th one, and then if we do very well on this one, as they are bringing a FIFA and CAF instructor to come and assess our own coach educators. So we are very happy about this and very delighted that at least now our coaches can get their education back on track.
Now, coaches educator Dr. Joseph Sibindi explained some of the areas being covered by the course.
CAF-C is a course that is designed for coaches who coach at grassroots, at youth level, ages 12 to 16. And this is the most critical age because that's where we have got peak height velocity. When we talk of peak height velocity, that's the time when there is rapid growth in children, and it is during that time which we have got specific windows of trainability and skill development, and therefore we want to equip our coaches with the knowledge of handling different children emotionally, cognitively, and also in terms of developing physical literacy and football knowledge.
Premier League action returns this weekend after the international break, and players that were with the COSAFA team in South Africa and Warriors in Morocco for the friendlies rejoin their respective clubs, and focus could be on the pace setters and the struggling Giants. Now on Saturday, Greenfield face Talwan at Greenfield Arena. Caps United are at home against Chicken Inn at Rufaro. Former champions Ngeze Platinum host Manika Diamonds at Baobab. Bikita Minerals are at home at Gibo against struggling Giants Dynamos. Yada meet Herentals at Hart Stadium, while FC Platinum clash with tricky ZPC Kariba at Mandava. On Sunday, Scotland are at Rufaro against Kwekwe United. Triangle host Log Leaders Moors at Gibo, while Highlanders are at Babafields to face champions Zimbabwe. We are now joined live by Tawanda Muntali to discuss this further. Good evening, Tawanda. Which ones will be the interesting matches as the PSL returns?
The biggest game of this weekend is the game between Highlanders and Zimbabwe on Sunday. It's a game between two sides who have been doing well in recent games. You look at how Highlanders have been playing in front of their home fans. They'll be trying to make sure that they make life difficult for Zimbabwe and collect maximum points. If they win that game, they'll be within touching distance of the teams at the top. For Zimbabwe, the situation is more of the same, as they know that if they collect maximum points away from home, they'll have managed to put pressure on Log Leaders Moors.
What do you make of this title race, Tawanda? Could you tell us who is in and who's out?
Well, with only 14 games being played so far, I think it's too early to talk about the title race. But for now, it's a three-horse race between log leaders Moors, Scotland, and Zimbabwe. These are the three teams that have been consistent from the very beginning of this season. But we cannot turn our eyes away from ZPC Kariba, Highlanders, Herentals, as well as FC Platinum. These are the teams that we know that if they manage to get the right form at the right time, there'll be forces to reckon with, and obviously they'll put their hands up for the title race.
Now, looking at the reviews, the Giants have been struggling. Can they turn the corner?
Well, of the traditional big three this time around is different. It's only Cape United and Dynamos that have been struggling. You look at Highlanders, they managed to turn around the corner and they've been doing well in recent times. For Cape United, they've gone onto the market. They've been so far they've signed 2 players, and obviously they're linked to more. They know what they've been doing wrong, and obviously they're trying to work on correcting that. For Dynamos, it's more like the same, but for them, it's all about managing those draws, turning those draws into wins. You look at how they've played under Socha Minuka. They were struggling to score in recent times, but when Socha Minuka came on board, they've managed to score in their last 2 games. And that alone says a lot about the passion that the coaches have and the eagerness to turn around the corner so that they collect maximum points and move away from the relegation zone.
Thank you very much, Tawanda, for giving us more on the return of the Castle Lager Premier Soccer League. Now, the Zambezi Eagles squad for the Telkom Netball League Power Week 2 has been announced, with 13 players set to do duty in South Africa. Team captain Sharon Bonali is confident that her team will do well, as the games are part of their preparations for the 2027 World Cup in Australia.
My games yesterday were at Atamba. We are preparing for 2027 World Cup. Now we are going to second week, Power Week here at Telkom. We are promising you good. Last time Telkom won 4 games, and this time Trukuma win against AC. I believe in you guys. I know you can do it. These guys are fighters, honestly. Tunatrain kubalaxel kushkarimiro. Not good, we are training for farming, but these are preparations for 2027 World Cup. And we are promising that we are going to make it. World Cup. So, Zambezi Eagles guys, please, let's try not to disappoint. And I know we need to hit it.
And Zimbabwe Netball Association Technical Director John Banda says the Zambezi Eagles side is of paramount importance, as it will serve as a bridge between clubs and the senior women's national team.
This tournament is more than just another competition. It is a crucial step in Zimbabwe's journey to the 2027 World Cup in Australia, and our preparations for the Africa Cup, and African qualifiers scheduled for 2026. The Eagles will compete against the South African top tier teams, providing players with high-intensity match experience that will sharpen their skills, refine and strengthen their squad depth. To achieve long-term success, the Organizers managed to establish a strong and sustainable base. That's fact. The Zambezi Eagles, after participating in the Telkom tournament, will be going to stay.
We sincerely apologize for the poor sound quality of that last story, but that wraps up our bulletin this evening. Thank you very much for watching. So good night from myself, Wadanai Sansole, and the crew behind the scenes.